All right, hey, what's up, guys? Coach Mac, Play Fast Football. All right, I'm going to do a video today on access throws. It was a question that was asked me by a subscriber. I've talked about it before on some of my tempo videos, some of our RPO videos. What I'm going to do today is tell you how we used access throws, what I think access throws are, the way we viewed it when I was calling offenses, and I'll tell you where I differentiate between access, RPOs, and how I teach the quarterback. All right, make sure you check out some of our partners, GameStrat, Sideline Replay Company we use at Bishop Kenny High School. Used them at the last two high schools I was at previously. If you're looking for highly reliable, highly affordable, make sure you check out GameStrat, see why everybody's making a change. Dome, Headwear, hat company we use. Every high school that I've been at in my career, I have used Dome. Play Fast Football uses Dome. Customizable, online hat builder. Stock hats suck. Design your own hat. They understand what we do. Former players at Florida. They've coached before. They get exactly what our world is, so they cater everything towards coaches. Make sure you check out Dome Hats. Baker Sporting Goods company we use for coaches gear, players gear, sideline gear, practice gear, spirit packs, fan stores. They're in the shoulder pad world now with pro gear. They're big in the baseball world, so kind of your one-stop shop for a bunch of different things that you may need with your program. Check out Baker Sporting Goods, JustPlay, playbook software we use. Our players have an account, coaches have an account. We do a lot of our installs through there. We do a lot of our team meetings in the presentation mode through JustPlay. If I speak at any clinics or I do anything for my Patreon site, JustPlay is the software I'm going to use. It's the best play drawing tool on the market. Difference USA, the ultimate striking machine. You get thousands of reps. Don't need a partner. Don't have to worry about teaching somebody how to hold a hand shield, how to hold a bag, give proper resistance. It's just a player. Difference USA machine, which hooks up right to the racks in your weight room. If you want to strike violently, you've got to practice striking violently. Perfect setup with Difference USA. All right, if you guys are interested in any of the clinics that we've done, the Zoom clinics, the last 3.5 months, we've got about 7 or 8 of them on there. sting8740@gmail.com. All right, right now I have got a little bundle going on, a tight clinic, split field clinic, blitz families clinic. Those are all clinics that I did. All right, so there's 2 40-minute sessions on tight front. There's about an hour and a half or an hour and 45-minute session on split field and about an hour and a half, hour and 45-minute session on blitz families, how I categorize our blitzes and how I make it kind of simplified for our players. And then if you like what we do on YouTube and you want to take it to the next level, patreon.com/Coach Mac. All right, it's a subscription site. It's $5 a month to be a subscriber. On there, all the clinics that I've done go on there. Clinics that we did, the original Play Fast clinic 2 years ago, live in person. There's clips of that on there. I show you game clips. I show you diagrams. All the things that I don't do on YouTube that I can do on a subscription site. So it's YouTube on steroids is the way that I would describe it to everybody. All right, so if you're interested in that, patreon.com/Coach Mac. So I get a lot of questions all the time about tempo and access throws and what's the deal, why are you using them, what are they, what routes do you use. So to me, in its simplest term, an access throw is something that the quarterback can take because the defense gives us access to it. Some people, all right, one of the first times I had learned a little bit about it, it was called a gift, all right, and that was Noel Mazzone talking about it. It's a gift throw, it's a gift that the defense gives you, all right, but the bottom line is it's something that you are carrying in your offense to get you out of situations that you don't really like. So in the tempo world, the argument a lot of people would make all the time with tempo stuff is, I don't want to call plays blind. I don't want to just rapid fire plays. I don't know the look. I don't know the front. I don't know the coverage, right? So if you're trying to call plays in the tempo world, and you're trying to play as fast as possible and snap the ball, whatever the time clock is in your head that you want to get it snapped from the time that the referee sets it. You don't really have time to look at the defense. You don't have time to look at where the 3 technique is, or is it odd or even, or how many guys are in the box, or what the coverage is. So you have to build a system within your offense where plays have answers, because access throws are kind of a version of a check with me in a way, because you're giving your quarterback a chance to do something with the ball if he doesn't get the look. Or even better yet, when you become a tempo team, one of the video we did yesterday talked about field hybrid defense and what I'm trying to do with my defense to take it to the next level to defend tempo, because as an offense, you're trying to create chaos. You're trying to create situations where the defense can't get lined up. Well, how do you know if you have a good play called if the defense isn't even lined up correctly? So a lot of times you won't see the front, you won't see the coverage. Defense might not even be lined up. So if there's numbers in the box that the quarterback doesn't like, if there's a picture that the quarterback doesn't like, you have to give him an answer of what to do with the ball because you are not audibling. You are not checking at the line of scrimmage. Now, will those things be built into your tempo system? Of course they will, because the other thing about tempo that you need to understand is you don't just play at the same tempo all the time. That's not tempo, that's just a routine. Tempo is the change, right? So in music, you have different tempos, and it's when everything changes from slower to faster to, it's the same thing in football. It's fast, really fast, the fastest you can go, freeze, check with me, because you have to dictate to the defense that you can play at different tempos. So what I've got on the board right now is just a standard 2-back RPO. All right, so we're going to run power to the front side, and on the front side, 2 receiver side, we're going to run, all right, kind of the glance route. All right, you can sell it with a stalk or a block on the Sam and then go to make it tougher on the safety, and I'm going to run the fin route, 5-yard in outside. The backside is where we consider the access, right? So to me, the way I break things down, so this would be the access side. This would be the RPO side. Now, the reason that's important to me, okay, this for me is what I teach quarterbacks to be a pre-snap decision. This for me is what I teach quarterbacks to be a post-snap decision. So that I am building terminology in to let my quarterbacks know whether or not there's going to be a mesh, right? So a lot of times you get in the access world and you got a run play call, and now the quarterback is not going to mesh. The tailback doesn't understand if there's going to be a mesh or not. A lot of different ways you can teach that. Tailback takes his appropriate steps. If the quarterback doesn't present the ball, tailback's got to fly up through the line of scrimmage and block somebody. Quarterback can turn to the running back and say, hey, I'm taking the access throw. A lot of different ways you can do it, right? But the thing about that is I'm trying to let the quarterback know if you take the access throw, it's because of something that happened pre-snap. Something you liked, something you didn't like, right? So maybe the box was loaded to the power play. You didn't feel like we can block it, so you chose the access. Well, maybe they had a corner that was 8 yards off, nobody in the flat, you chose the access. So that is a pre-snap, and the word I like to use is decision, okay? And I had a coordinator that was with me 3 or 4 years ago that actually used that terminology in his screen game. All right, he called screens that were decide screens, and he told the quarterback, decide 1, decide 2, decide 3. So he was telling the quarterback, you have a decision to throw stand-up screens, or you can run the play out, right? So the access throws are a decision that we're making pre-snap, okay? RPOs are a decision that we are making post-snap. So a lot of times guys will ask and say, right now, obviously that's the glance and the fin. The RPO can be whatever you want. Just make sure you're taking advantage of the overhang defender. A lot of times guys will ask me can you run, bubble as an RPO? Of course you can, okay? Can you run bubble as an access? Of course you can, all right? But at some point you've got to teach the quarterback whether or not he's going to go through the mesh and the ride, or if he's just going to raise up and throw. You've got to teach the running back what the mechanics are of the mesh, the ride, raise up and throw, right? So if this was the theory out here, the way I would teach my quarterback, if this was the RPO theory and it was post-snap, there's still going to be a mesh, and now we're going to read the Sam post-snap, okay? So until you get a little bit more involved with what you're doing and the players understand it, I would never give the quarterback, if this was on the RPO side, I would never give the quarterback the ability to just raise up and throw the bubble, okay, until I taught the quarterback that if that's what he was going to do, he has to make sure he communicates that with the tailback. So in the grassroots teaching of it, the quarterback and the tailback understands that if the quarterback is going to stay on the RPO side, there is going to be a mesh, because that is going to happen post-snap. Well, the only way it can happen post-snap is if you actually mesh and read like a true option theory. All right, so I've talked about this before also. RPOs just become double option football, whether option guys like it or not. Right, so we're going to mesh, we're going to ride, Maybe we won't ride into the line of scrimmage, but we're still going to mesh. All right, the old ride and decide theory. We're probably not physically riding into the line of scrimmage of an RPO. I get how that's different. All right, but there's still going to be a mesh. We're still going to talk about the decision-making process, talk about the skills of maybe back hip to front hip, however you teach your option game. Okay, but this is going to happen post-snap based on the reaction of the read key. Okay, or the stimulus of the read key. So when I teach it to players, the RPO combinations, even if I wanted to run bubble, even if I wanted to run stand-up, if it's on the front side of the combination that has the run play, then that's the RPO side, and those are things that are going to happen post-snap. And if they're post-snap, we are certainly going to have a mesh between the quarterback and the running back. Well, the access side or the give side is completely different for me, the way I teach it. The access side is pre-snap, okay? And there's no mesh involved whatsoever. Because if you choose that, you know that the run play is not even an option, regardless of what happens after that, because you've chosen to take the access side, right? So when you differentiate the two, okay, the access is pre-snap, a decision that you're making based on box numbers, coverage, leverage, whatever you like that tells you you are taking the pre-snap throw. Now, none of that has to be communicated to the offensive line. None of that has to be communicated to the receivers on the front side. The only guy it may need to be communicated to is the tailback. If you have a philosophy in which, if you're taking access, I need that tailback to sprint into the line knowing that there's not going to be a mesh. Okay? Now, you watch a lot of college guys do it, and even now in the NFL, you'll see guys throw access and the running back is still taking the steps to the mesh. He doesn't even know what they're doing. Okay? So, what you got to understand is there's no communication involved to the O-line. On this access throw, this is going to be punch one, ball out. So this guard will never get downfield. You never have to worry about being downfield on access throws. Your access throws are not going to be three-step hitch and hold. Your access throws are going to be punch one, whatever your footwork is, one step, rocker, turn two on a double play, whatever your footwork is to throw quick game, that is going to be what your footwork is on the access throw side. Now, what you build into the access side is completely up to you as a coach. How sophisticated you get into it on the access side is completely up to you as a coach. If you want to signal the access side every time and tell that guy what to run, go ahead. If you want to have options to where he can run 2 to 3 routes based on leverage and depth of the corner, go ahead. Okay? What I wouldn't do on the access side is I wouldn't build a complete route tray of 17 things we can do. The bottom line is, all right, if this guy is off, we want to take the gift, as Coach Mazzone would call it, that they give us underneath. If he's got no help in the flat and there's no defender near him and he's off, all right, we want to be able to take the gift that they give us underneath, okay? Conversely, and again, you could do this probably with slant or a go ball, but conversely, if you get that guy matched up by himself into press, okay, so maybe it's a man theory, all right, or maybe it's a theory where they borrow the backside safety to the front side because they're worried about poaching that number 3 receiver vertical, taking the stress off the mic to play 3 vertical. If he's pressed, we don't just say, hey, access is off, he's pressed. No, what they're now giving us, if it's a man deal, they're giving us access to possibly that ball or that ball. Now, if we like that matchup, and we like that completion percentage with our quarterback, and those are balls that we work on throwing all the time. If I get a loaded box, single coverage, and that's my guy, I'm not taking access off because it's press, okay? All right, the cornerback is up. There's no quote-unquote gift that they gave us, okay? But if it was a man world, all right, or it was a loaded box world, all right, if that guy is pressed up and everything is in the box or away to where you know the corner is manned by himself, we still give the receiver a chance to run access. Now, when I was calling offenses, I never signaled the access side. All right? I told our receivers, our quarterback, that we are running hitch until they take hitch away by alignment. So anytime we got off coverage, okay, anything that was 5 yards or deeper, all right, 5 yards or deeper. Now, this takes a lot of work. It takes, there is some gray area here, all right? We're running that route until they can take it away. As soon as they take it away, we ran that route. Now, we're not talking about conversions. We're not talking about converting on the fly, okay? That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is if you get pressed, all right, and you know it's pressed, you're running the go route, all right? If you get off coverage and you know it's off coverage, you're running the hitch route, okay? Now, we then, later on into our experience, we started to mess a little bit with the speed out, all right, or the roll out. We started to mess a little bit with, all right, slants off of press coverage. But in the initial concept of how we taught it to where off coverage you're running hitch, press coverage you're running fade. Those are your two choices. Got to rep it all the time in practice. That's where the quarterback knows he can go with the football, right? So for me, when I build the offense, all my RPO deals are built with accesses on the other side, okay? And you can look at it however you want to look at it, and everybody's got their own terminology, but I want a way to be able to teach the quarterback the mechanics of the mesh, the decision, what we're doing with the ball. So I used to categorize things into RPOs and option, true option football, right? So I just told you that RPO is double option football, okay? I would categorize things for my quarterback by telling him, all right, look, we would carry some version of zone triple, however you want to look at it. So we would carry some version of zone or sometimes duo blocking. All right, that was first read, that was pitch read, okay? And we would go ahead and we would block that, and we would go ahead and block that, and we would bubble him, and we would run zone read, and if the quarterback kept it, his next deal would be to attack the pitch player, all right? So that's our give pull read, all right? And that's our keep pitch read. The only thing we didn't do is instead of running triple option pitches, we ran, all right, bubble stuff. So when we did that, this was still the access side. So we still had access rules in place away from the zone read triple theory. Okay? So this, even though I don't consider that an RPO, is it a run pass option on paper? Yes, we have the ability to run or throw the ball. I get that. Okay? To me, all right, I consider this just so I could teach the quarterbacks when he was in the pocket throwing and when he was going to actually carry out triple option, all right, I categorize this as option football. Okay, now, I know that I just said RPO is technically double option football. Yes, on paper in theory, all right, if you ask me, RPO is 100% option football. When I taught my quarterbacks, okay, I taught them the difference between what I considered RPO and what I considered option in our offense. Why did I do that? Because the RPO was going to be a pocket throw, and the option was going to be, all right, your traditional option theory. So again, if we rewind a little bit, yes, RPO is double option football, 100%. When I taught my quarterbacks in our room, our offense, our school, I taught them that RPOs and option were different theories for us on offense, okay? Just like I also taught them access was a different theory, okay? So the RPO means there's going to be a mesh and we're going to throw the ball from the pocket. The option meant there's going to be a mesh and a read, but we're going to carry out and run the ball if we keep it, and there's going to be another option that you can throw, usually a stand-up or a bubble screen. The access told me that there was going to be no mesh. The ball was going to be thrown pre-snap, okay? And there won't be any read, post-snap, mesh. None of that will be involved, right? So in the access world, the gift world, what you have to understand is, first of all, why are those throws there? Those throws are there because you are building tempo into your system, and you don't audible or check with me in certain tempos. So your quarterback has to have a way to get out of a play that he thinks is bad, blind, dead, however you want to look at it. Okay, so that's part of the teaching process. All right, so the access throw is there to help protect your tempo. Okay, that's what it is there for. For me, it was the backside of perimeter runs, the backside of option football, the backside of RPOs. That's the way I built my offenses. We always had access throws on the backside. And I've also explained this on different videos. This is another way to get guys involved in your offense. When I played football, if that was the run, the guy on this side was stalking the middle of the field trying to make that home run block that you may have made once a game, possibly. Okay? Well, in today's day and age, that X that's back there by himself, he doesn't know any better. He's got a route that he's got to run on the access side. He might get the ball every play. Okay? You'll get your X to play a lot harder. Probably 80 to 90% of your X's, your singles, they'll play harder and run a route harder if they know they might get the ball. If they're the guy that's going backside to get the free safety, takes a really good player, a really competitive player, a team-orientated player to get him to bust his tail every time to make that cutoff block. Right? So it's another way of getting skilled players involved to say, look, we're running the ball, it's option, RPO, perimeter run that way. You're on the access side, you may get the football. All right, it's just another way to almost trick kids in a way to consider that, hey, on every play you have a chance to get the football. Okay, so again, access, what is it? It is pre-snap, okay? It's a gift. It's something that the defense gives us based on their alignment, and we can take it at any time. If we take it, there's no mesh with the running back. There's nothing post-snap that goes on. We are pre-snap throwing this ball, and now you're stuck in that world. You got to live with it. Okay, now, again, can the access be bubbled to a number 3? Okay, so could you block the Sam, run zone read, and the access is bubbled to number 3? It certainly can be. There's nothing wrong with that theory. All right? Understand how you teach the quarterback, the running back, and the meshes and the exchanges and the ball handling. If this was part of an access theory, there would be no mesh. So if bubble was part of the access throw, and it was built into my offense that way, if I was going to take the bubble, I would tell that running back, hey, I'm taking the access. So now the running back, instead of stepping the mesh, he might just full speed sprint at the defensive end that's unblocked. Okay, that's the only thing I would do different. Can you carry bubbles as access? Sure can. Can you carry stand-ups as access? Sure can. Nothing wrong with that. Access doesn't have to be a route down the line of scrimmage. I told you that our access was hitch fade early on in my career. Okay, then it became speed out, some other things. Doesn't have to be routes down the line of scrimmage. Stand-ups, bubbles, nows can all be access throws. My suggestion to you when teaching your quarterback, all right, and your tailbacks and your mesh procedures, if you are taking access throws, whether they are stand-up screens, whether they are bubble screens, whether they are hitch fade slants, if you're taking an access throw, my suggestion is you teach in your system that the access is pre-snap with no mesh, and you have a way to communicate to the tailback that there will not be a mesh. If the bubbles stand up now as part of a post-snap leverage decision that you're making on an overhang defender that you can't block, the same way you would read that defender to run glance or 2 on skinny, whatever your terminology is, the fin route by 1, stick, doesn't really change anything. All right, if you're doing that post-snap, there's going to be a mesh and there's going to be ball handling involved. If you're doing that pre-snap, there's no mesh and no ball handling. Okay, so access throws are a simple way to get receivers involved, give your quarterback an answer if you're a tempo team, take what the defense gives you. In a lot of offenses, it's replaced true quick game. All right, so you have true quick game built into almost every run or RPO that you have. All right, so in a lot of instances, it may have replaced true quick game. All right, accesses can be stand-ups. They can be bubbles. They can also be hitch, slant, fade. What access can't be is a route that takes time to develop while your quarterback takes a 3-step drop, because most of your accesses are tied to your run game. So by the time the quarterback drops, probably going to have guys downfield. All right, so again, I've done several videos on tempo, how to use tempo, what tempo is. All right, I've done RPO videos, I've done screen videos, I've done several different videos before about all those things. I was asked a question by a subscriber, exactly what people mean when they talk about access, so I wanted to do a specific video just on access, get it out there so that the subscriber that watches what we do knows that he is being listened to. Your comments mean something. So that is my spin on what access throws are in my offense. You can go down the road and somebody will tell you something completely different. That's their offense. They have every right to do that. Those are access throws in my offense. All right. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 25,000 subscribers. Make sure you turn your notifications on. Make sure that bell is on so you know every time we do a video or we go YouTube Live. Thumbs up, thumbs down if you like the content. Don't like the content, it helps me out. Always leave a message. I will answer every question that I can see if you leave a message or a comment. If it's about a video and I can do that video, I will try to do that video for you as well. Remember that I've got clinics that I've been doing the last 7-8 months, clinics that other people have done for me, and then clinics that I've done like this bundle right here. If you're interested in purchasing those, sting8740@gmail.com. If you like what we do on YouTube and you want to take it to another level, the Patreon site, different times of the year, it has more info than others. It's a $5 a month subscription site, but it has game video, practice video, diagrams. All the clinics that we have done on Zoom have been posted on there. All my previous clinics that I did for Glazier a couple years ago, that's where those types of things get posted because it's a subscription site, so I post more on there than I would on the YouTube site. All right, so I hope if your season has started, you're off to a good start. If you're back to work as a teacher, get through the first couple days. Once the school year starts, you won't know any different. All right, hope you are doing well. Hope you are healthy. Appreciate everything you do for me and Play Fast Football. Remember, you won't play well until you play fast. See you guys next time.